What's up you guys, Mo Awesome from Awesome MTB and welcome to the Awesome MTB Trail Bike Buyer's Guide. I think this is going to be the future of mountain bikes. I don't understand how Specialized did it. This shock is absolutely insane. Evil might have one of the best suspension designs out there. A high line here, make it a little spicier in the tech. I just feel like the control that the Switchblade gives you is pretty insane. You could literally climb anything on this thing. If you've ever watched an old school free ride movie, this bike gives you this kind of weird sense of delusion that you could do some of those lines. It's so composed in slow speed chunk. The Habit has such good rollover. The Delano Peak is so underrated. What's up you guys and welcome back to the Awesome MTB Trail Bike Buyer's Guide. Over the last 2 months, we have been testing out 11 of the best trail bikes on the market. These are bikes that we would personally buy ourselves and we truly think are gonna be the go-to bikes in that 140 to 150 millimeter travel category. Now, even though each one of these bikes is so similar in travel and geo numbers, each one of them has a completely different personality. Some are insane corners, some are amazing at high speed stability, and some are just great all-around trail bikes. Now, the purpose of this series is to make buying your next bike helpful, so hopefully by the end of this video series, you guys will know what your next mountain bike is and what each of these bikes is all about. Now, before we introduce the bikes, we need to give a huge thank you to the sponsors of the series. We are an independent mountain bike media site, and so having these sponsors on board helps make series like these possible. So I do want to give a huge thank you to Crank Brothers, because all throughout this series, you're going to see that we were running Crank Brothers shoes as well as pedals. So the Stam 7 flat pedals are some of our favorite pedals out there, and they come in a ton of really awesome colors. The traction on those pedals is absolutely insane. It's a very thin profile, so it minimizes rock strikes. And we've also been using 2 types of shoes in this shootout. We have their new Stam trail shoes, and that's actually a very comfortable to hike in trail mountain bike shoe, because in Laguna Beach, what goes down must go up, and it's a very steep up most of the time. So it's so awesome to have a mountain bike shoe that is so comfortable to actually hike in. And for more burly trail style riding days, I've actually been using the standard Stam flat pedal shoes, and I actually have a really cool boa configuration in the new sand/teal colors. The color came out insane. Once again, you guys, the coolest part about this company is they're born and raised in California, and once again, whatever type of rider you are, they have a shoe for you. Whether you're clipless, flat, you want a little bit more of a hiking profile, you want a little bit more of a downhill oriented shoe, and so many awesome colors to choose from. We're actually going to link Crank Brothers in the description of this video. Huge thank you to them for sponsoring this intro video. Now let's talk about the bikes that we have in this buyer's guide. The first is the Ari Delano Peak with 142 millimeters of rear travel, 150 millimeters of front travel, and a really awesome direct-to-consumer price tag. We also have the brand new Transition Sentinel. This bike was recently released and it has internal frame storage and 150 millimeters of rear travel and 160 millimeters of travel up front. We also have one of the biggest companies out there, Giant Bicycle, submitting the Trans X, 140 millimeter rear travel, 150 millimeters of front travel, extremely customizable trail bike, obviously with their tried and true Maestro suspension, and that's going to be a very interesting thing to compare to some other bikes in this test. We have the Evil offering with 140 millimeters of Delta Link suspension travel. That bike is insane, and Evil's a company known for making really fun bikes. Oh my God. We also have the brand new Specialized Stump Jumper 15. This is gonna be a people's favorite. We've heard so many great things about this bike before the test, and after riding it, we can say, I think it's gonna stand up to the hype. We also have the Yeti Cycles SB140, a classic tried and true favorite and one of the fastest bikes probably in this buyer's guide, but we'll talk more about that later. We also have the Cannondale Habit with 140 millimeters of rear travel and 150 millimeters of front travel. Cannondale actually was one of the winners of our XC buyer's guide, so that's going to be a strong contender here. Coming all the way from BC, and honestly almost didn't make it into the test because DHL I think liked it a little bit too much that they kept it for a little bit more in customs. We have the Rocky Mountain Instinct. The Rocky Mountain Instinct has 140 millimeters of rear travel, 150 millimeters of front travel, and it's also one of the most customizable bikes in this test. More on that soon. We have one of my personal favorite brands, Pivot Cycles, with their Switchblade, 142 millimeters of DW Link suspension travel in the rear with 160 millimeters of travel up front, and this thing is a South Mountain Phoenix, Arizona ripper. Another direct-to-consumer brand, Propane actually sent over their Eugene with 140 millimeters of travel, an amazing price point, and honestly some of the coolest looking decals out of the test. And last but certainly not least, we have the Ibis Cycles Rip Mode, new to this year with internal frame storage and a completely new frame design as well as sizing. That's going to be a very interesting addition to the shootout. Now, like I mentioned, each one of these bikes is very similar to each other. They all fall in that 140 to 150 millimeter travel range, and they all have very similar geocharts. They're gonna be off by a few millimeters, few centimeters here and there. But like I also told you guys, each one of these bikes has its own personality, and it's been so awesome getting to know each one of these bikes over the last 2 months and really trying to break down who I think each one of these bikes is for. Obviously, we're gonna be breaking down climbing and descending, which one excels in those categories. We're gonna be breaking down cornering, pedal efficiency, price point. Do we think that the builds offered are good bang for bucks? And if not, where we think that you can save money, and we might even recommend our own personal builds to make sure you're getting the best bang for buck in your next mountain bike. A couple of other things we're going to be touching on is which suspension platform we prefer, because actually out of these 11 bikes, I want to say we have about 8 or 9 different suspension designs. We have things like DW Link, Switch Infinity, Giddy Up, a Horse Link design, and a ton of other variations of each other. And once again, you guys, this all is going to contribute to a very unique feel out on the trails. We have different chainstay length, head angles. We have different customizable options. That's actually going to be something very unique for 2025. I feel like this is going to be the year where every bike coming out is going to have a different customizable option. So some of these bikes have head angles that are adjustable. Some have completely different geo positions. We also have chainstay adjustability in one of the bikes. There's a lot of different adjustments that can be made with these bikes. Certain bikes are more adjustable than others, and some bikes actually have no adjustments. The brands actually feel very confident in exactly what they have put out there. And you know, that's actually gonna be something that's very interesting that I felt in the differences between each bikes. I'll touch on that point in my findings later on in the series. Another thing is going to be internal frame storage, because that's going to be another hot debate. Some people don't want it at all, and some companies like Transition are actually solving a problem that I didn't know was a problem until they released their internal frame storage option. Now we're going to go even deeper than that. We're going to talk about the components themselves, because as you guys can tell, each one of these bikes has very different builds. Now we try to keep it all in similar price points, but we have mechanical shifting as opposed to transmission. We have Fox versus RockShox. We have different iterations of Fox suspension, whether it's the new Grip X2 or the standard Grip X. We also have RockShox's Lyric with Buttercup, without Buttercup. We're going to tell you what upgrades we actually felt were worth it and what we felt was just maybe marketing hype. We actually have a brand new shock in the series as well, the new Genie from Specialized. Now that is going to be another very interesting component, because a lot of people are interested in that rear shock and what it does out on the trails, and we're going to tell you guys whether we think it's all marketing hype or if we actually think it's an amazing shock to upgrade to. So hopefully Hopefully you guys enjoy this trail bike buyer's guide. We put so much time and energy into this. Hopefully it shows through this content, but our biggest goal here was to make sure you guys had all of the information needed to make an informed decision on your next mountain bike and make sure you guys pick the right one. So enjoy the series, and until next time, you guys, ride awesome. You. Hey guys, my name's Mo.
My name's Jason.
And welcome to the awesome MTB Jank production.
Where it's not about the production quality, it's about the bikes and the actual information that's going out into the world.
Honestly, I'm surprised we were able to turn this camera on, but we rode all the bikes.
And honestly, I'm not even sure if the camera is on. Now you're just being facetious.
I'm not being, but why you gotta use that word?
I don't know. I figured maybe you didn't know it.
I think Hannah's just over us.
She's beat down.
She's so done.
I don't have good energy levels.
POV.
Never done.
Hungry.
It's never done. So many bikes. It will never end.
Bought like 40 different bikes in 12 hours.
I never want to do another buyer's guide ever again. And with the help of some additional testers, and with the help of some feedback from some additional testers, we really. What the? Do you have a message to the audience?
You guys have no idea.
Oh shoot.
Sorry. Honestly, can't wait for the next one. Double the amount of bikes.
All right, now that we have all of that out of the way, let's get into what you guys are actually here for, and that is, what is the best trail bike of 2025?